Have you ever noticed how a single comment, action, or attitude from someone else can ruin your entire day? We spend so much time reacting to what others say or do, forgetting that our peace is in our hands. Today, we are going to solve a very important problem: how to stop letting other people control your emotions, disturb your calm, or disturb your focus. By learning to never get angry or bothered, you unlock a life of freedom, clarity, and peace, where your happiness is determined by your choices rather than the behavior of others. The first step to never getting angry or bothered by anyone is realizing that anger is not something that just happens to you. It is a choice. Most people believe that when someone offends them or behaves poorly, anger is an automatic response. But the truth is, every emotion you feel is initiated by your own mind, triggered by your thoughts about a situation. Anger is not caused by the other person, it is caused by the meaning you attach to their actions. Think about it. Two people can experience the same insult, criticism, or rude behavior, and one may get furious while the other remains calm. What makes the difference is the inner interpretation. When you understand that anger is a choice, you realize that you are not a victim of circumstances, you are the master of your response. This realization alone is liberating because it shifts responsibility from the outside world to your own mind. Choosing not to get angry does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending to be calm. It is a conscious decision to not let your energy be hijacked by someone else's words or behavior. Every moment that you pause, breathe, and evaluate the situation before reacting, you create space for reason and clarity. Anger loses its power the moment you refuse to feed it with attention and energy. Another important aspect of understanding anger is recognizing the cost it imposes on you. Anger affects your health, drains your energy, and clouds your judgment. By choosing calmness, you protect yourself from unnecessary stress, regret, and emotional turbulence. You begin to see that maintaining peace is far more valuable than winning an argument, proving someone wrong, or reacting impulsively. When you internalize that anger is a choice, you start observing situations differently. Provocations that once triggered immediate frustration become opportunities to practice patience and control. You no longer react mechanically to external stimuli. Instead, you respond consciously, with awareness and intention. This is the foundation for a life where you are no longer bothered by anyone, because your emotional state is rooted in your own control rather than external circumstances. Finally, choosing not to get angry allows you to reclaim your energy. Every reaction you control is energy preserved for creativity, joy, and meaningful action. The more consistently you practice this choice, the more natural calmness becomes. And you realize that your peace is not negotiable, it is yours to protect, no matter who says or does. What the second key to never getting angry or bothered by anyone is learning detachment. In the sense of being cold or indifferent, but in the sense of not taking things personally. People say and do things based on their own experiences, fears, biases, and limitations. When you internalize that their actions reflect who they are and not who you are, it becomes easier to remain unaffected. Detachment allows you to observe situations objectively without letting emotions like anger, frustration, or resentment take control. Think about the last time someone's words hurt you. Was it truly about you? Or was it about their perception, their stress, or their need to assert control? When you detach from the meaning they attach to their own behavior, you free yourself from emotional hijacking. This does not mean ignoring wrongs or injustice. It simply means responding from a place of clarity rather than reactive emotion. Detachment also requires understanding that you cannot control others, only your response. People will act according to their character and mindset, and expecting them to behave perfectly is a recipe for disappointment. The moment you accept that their behavior is outside your control, you stop wasting energy trying to change them or seeking validation. Your focus shifts inward toward what you can control: your mind, your thoughts, and your reactions. Another aspect of detachment is managing expectation. Often, we get angry because reality does not match what we thought it would be. We expect politeness, fairness, or understanding from others. And when those expectations are unmet, we react with frustration. By lowering unnecessary expectations and accepting people as they are, you reduce triggers for anger. Detachment allows you to interact without the weight of anticipation, giving you emotional freedom. Practicing detachment also strengthens empathy. When you understand that people's words or actions stem from their own struggle, you respond with patience and compassion instead of defensiveness or rage. Detachment does not make you passive. It makes you powerful. You engage thoughtfully, act wisely, and maintain your peace, regardless of how others behave. Finally, detachment creates a mental shield. Every time someone tries to provoke you or upset your calm, your mind no longer reacts automatically. You observe, assess, and respond with intention. Over time, this becomes a natural state, where the turbulence of others does not penetrate your inner calm. Detachment is not avoidance, it is mastery over your emotional focus, ensuring that no external force can rob you of peace, joy, or clarity. Another crucial step to never getting angry or bothered by anyone is developing emotional awareness and self-control. Most of the time, anger arises not because of what happens outside, but because of what happens inside your thoughts, interpretations, judgments about a situation. Emotional awareness is the ability to observe these internal processes without being swept away by them. It is the skill of noticing the first sparks of irritation or frustration before they grow into full-blown anger. When you become aware of your emotions, you recognize patterns. You start noticing which situations or people tend to trigger you, why they trigger you, and what underlying beliefs or insecurities amplify your reactions. This awareness is liberating because it shifts responsibility from the outside world to yourself. No longer are you a passive victim of circumstance, you become the conscious observer, capable of guiding your emotional responses instead of being guided by them. Self-control is the natural companion to emotional awareness. Once you notice the first signs of irritation, you have a choice. React impulsively or respond mindfully. Simple techniques, pausing, taking a deep breath, or mentally stepping back, create space between stimulus and response. In that space lies power. The power to choose calmness, to prioritize clarity over reaction, and to protect your energy from being hijacked. Each conscious choice strengthens your ability to maintain composure under pressure, making it easier to interact with challenging people without being disturbed. Developing emotional awareness also requires reflection. Take time daily to review moments when you felt triggered. Ask yourself what thoughts or beliefs contributed to the reaction, and consider alternative interpretations. Over time, this practice rewires your mind, making it more resilient and less prone to anger. You begin to realize that most situations are neutral until meaning is assigned by your mind, and that meaning is always within your control. Another important aspect is consistency. Emotional mastery is not built overnight, it is developed through repeated practice, small moments of pause, and deliberate effort. The more consistently you exercise self-control, the more automatic calmness becomes. Situations that once provoked intense frustration now meet your steady presence. You no longer react with emotional impulsivity. Instead, you respond with clarity, purpose, and peace. Finally, emotional awareness and self-control enhance every area of life. Relationships improve because you respond thoughtfully rather than lash out. Decisions improve because they are informed by clarity rather than emotion. And your inner peace grows, creating a sense of stability that is independent of external circumstances. When you cultivate these qualities, you discover that it is not others who determine. Whether you get angry or bothered is your own choices, your awareness, and your self-mastery the final key to never getting angry or bothered by anyone is cultivating inner peace through mindfulness and perspective. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present in each moment, observing your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. When you are mindful, you notice when irritation or anger begins to surface, and you can consciously choose not to let it take over. Mindfulness creates a buffer between stimulus and reaction, allowing you to respond with calmness, clarity, and intentionality. Perspective plays an equally important role. Most of the things that anger us are temporary, trivial, or outside of our control. When you zoom out and see the bigger picture, the small irritations and provocations of others lose significance. The rude comment, the criticism, or the provocation becomes a momentary ripple rather than a storm that sweeps you off your feet. Understanding that life is much larger than any single interaction reduces the intensity of emotional reaction. Cultivating inner peace also requires intentional practices, meditation, deep breathing, reflective journaling, or quiet walks allow the mind to settle and recharge. These moments of stillness teach the mind that peace is not dependent on external circumstances. It is an internal state that you can access at any time. The more you practice these techniques, the more naturally calm and centered you become, even in the presence of difficult people or challenging situations. Another aspect of perspective is recognizing that anger rarely solves problems. Reacting impulsively often escalates conflicts, harms relationships, and drains your energy. By consciously choosing to remain calm, you act from wisdom rather than emotion. You make decisions based on reason and compassion, not reactivity. This not only preserves your peace, but often transforms tense situations into opportunities for understanding, resolution, and growth. Mindfulness and perspective also cultivate gratitude. When your focus shifts from being bothered by others to appreciating the present moment, your mind is free from negativity. You notice the beauty, the lessons, and the opportunities in every experience. The more you focus on what enriches you rather than what threatens your peace, the less control others have over your emotions. You begin to understand that the key to emotional freedom is not controlling people or circumstances, but controlling your own mind. Finally, cultivating inner peace through mindfulness and perspective creates lasting freedom. You are no longer a puppet to others' words, actions, or moods. You respond thoughtfully, remain centered, and maintain your energy for what truly matters. Life becomes calmer, decisions become wiser, and interactions become more meaningful. By mastering mindfulness and perspective, you build a life where anger and agitation no longer dominate, and where your emotional stability becomes your superpower. As we reflect on today's message, remember this: no one has the power to disturb your peace unless you allow it. Anger and irritation are choices, and by practicing awareness, detachment, self-control, and mindfulness, you reclaim control over your mind and emotions. Life will always present people and situations that test your patience, but your response is yours alone. Today, choose calm over chaos, clarity over reaction, and peace over provocation. When you make this choice consistently, you build a life where no one can make you angry or bothered, and your inner freedom becomes unshakable no matter what happens around you.